219-845-1100. Let's take a look at some of the stuff going on around the area and the state and so forth. And let's just look across the state of Indiana. The central Indiana city of Anderson is preparing to tear down a former meat processing plant. Officials say the former EMGE building is scheduled for demolition today. How about out of Vincennes, Indiana? The Indiana Military Museum is moving to a site near downtown Vincennes. Museum founder Jim Osborne hopes to have the facility open sometime this summer at the former Blackford Glass Factory. And in South Bend, cycling advocates are planning a procession in South Bend in an effort to show cars that bikes can coexist with cars. A group called Bike the Bend is preparing to ride from Mishawaka to the City County building in downtown South Bend on Wednesday. The procession is in response to bicyclist Stephen Carey's death in February. And trees growing at the Crane Naval Surface Warfare Center will be used to repair the world's oldest commission warship. The white oak trees on the southern Indiana base were recently inspected in preparation for repairs to the USS Constitution. So they're going to take those off the base and use them, huh? Let's take a look at some of the stuff on a national scene. The U.S. and Chinese officials are said to be working out a deal for American asylum for a blind Chinese legal activist. He fled house arrest and has reportedly been in the protection of U.S. diplomats in Beijing. A human rights campaigner says the two sides want to reach agreement on the activist, who most of the folks are calling Chen. And before Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton and other U.S. officials begin an annual round of talks in Beijing on Thursday. The activist says a source close to the U.S. and Chinese governments told him a decision would come within days. And the latest U.S. drone strike in Pakistan is adding to the strains in the relationship between U.S. and Pakistan. Pakistan is condemning the attack, which killed 3 suspected militants. 219-845-1100. Hey, you're on the air, Marianne. How have you been?
Hey, good. How are you?
What's up?
I'm going to vote for Richard Murdoch for senator, and I'll tell you why. You won't read about this in the paper. There was no microphone around, but it was a conversation held in public, so I'm sure it's okay for me to repeat this because it's been repeated by everyone who heard it. My brother-in-law happens to be an acquaintance of Richard Murdoch. And back, let's see, this was a year or so ago when he was, I don't even think he was running for senator yet. He was the treasurer. He's the treasurer of the state of Indiana. And back when Obama took over GM, and bondholders for and you know more about this than I do, but wasn't the first time that bondholders got left holding an empty bag with GM bonds? Is that true?
I think ultimately it all got paid back, but yeah, well, in the beginning, yeah.
Okay, so but the retirement fund in the state of Indiana for teachers and government workers was very heavy in GM bonds, as it was everything, because blue stock bonds, sure, safe and good. Well, so first thing you know, the federal government says, no, too bad, so sad, your money's gone. Well, Richard Murdoch is one of, I forget how many, 20-some states that are now suing the federal government over that. But he said, in this conversation with this group of people, like I said, there's no microphone around, so you'll never read about it. He was in tears, torn about what he was going to do, because now this teachers, and specifically he was talking about the teachers' retirement fund, was very, very compromised because of this, because the government decided to take this money away. An unprecedented move, but anyway, and he says, here's what's happening to all these other states who have now sued the federal government over this because the same thing has happened in their states. One by one, these state treasurers are being approached with the checkbook in hand by Obama's people saying, how much to make you happy? And he said, I know that's going to happen here.
All
And he
right.
said, but I know these people got screwed. So what do I do? Do I stand my moral ground and say, this was not right? Or do I say, you know what, this is a way of getting our money back. I'll take it because it's he goes, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. So here's a man who has morals and scruples. That's why I'm voting for him.
Well, obviously you have to be somewhat in line with his real conservative principles because he makes no bones about it. I mean, he's toting the kind of Rush Limbaugh party line from top to bottom. And you know what? I got to believe that would normally play well all the way throughout the state of Indiana. It's just that Lugar has been there for so long.
That's another thing. What? Why?
He's 80 years old and
I know.
he's going again,
You know what?
right?
I'm sorry. I don't mean to keep interrupting you,
Okay,
but
but go ahead.
I know people in their 80s. God love them. I love them. But, I think it's time to sit back and let some younger minds go to work.
Why is it why is it people just sometimes won't let go? You know what I mean?
Power.
Is that I don't.
They don't want to let go. Power. We see it happening locally.
Yeah, you see, you know what? We could go down for some people that stayed just a little bit too long.
Yeah.
The list is long. All right, Marianne, thanks a lot.
All right. Okay.
219-845-1100. Speaking on the Republican side, now the Times over the weekend on Sunday endorsed Jerry Tippie of Cherville. He's comes on here and he does a show with Evelyn on I don't know, every so often they do the Cherville show, and here's what the Times says: of the three Republican candidates for Lake County Commissioner in District 2, Jerry Tippie stands out. Running in this race along with Cherville Councilman Tippie are Kenneth Stevenson and Dan Langmesser. Let's see, Stevenson owns a limousine company, and he's well aware on transportation issues, it says here. Langmesser has run for office before. He sees that buses are empty, though he does see the need for easy access to and from Chicago. Tippie, he wants to investigate county spending. Tippie also believes creating a human resources department could improve the hiring process. So there you go. We endorsed Tippie for the Republican nomination for Lake County Commissioner District 2. So if I'm not mistaken, District 2 is the southern part of this county. There's three commissioners. They basically act as like the mayor of Lake County. And there's one in the southern end right now, and that is Jerry Shube. And he is a Democrat, and he is running against Roy Dominguez. And Roy Dominguez is here today at 8 o'clock. And we'll talk about whatever it is that Roy's campaign wants to talk about. I have a little outline here, and I'll go through that. So Dominguez and Shube are duking it out here in the primary. But then they got to turn around. They got to face a Republican in the general election. So to become that, I guess to become that commissioner is not an easy road right now, either on the Republican or Democratic side, because on the Republican there's three guys. They've all got reasonable name recognition. Tippie, of course, by far the most. So if it was like, say, Tippie versus Shube or Tippie versus Dominguez, it seems as if that would be pretty contended race because Southern Lake County is a lot of Republicans that live in Southern Lake County. So it's heating up, my friends, and it's not just on the Democratic side like it always is.